Chairman Bao. Hey. Hey June. Just wanted to see how's the audio? Do you guys hear me okay? There's some background music going on. My mic is on. Just wanted to make sure everything is in order because I tried this last time and it was kind of yikes. My audio didn't really work. Is anything coming through right now? Hey. Economy, good to see you, bro. You guys can all hear me all right? Oh. Okay-ish. Okay. Is the background audio coming on? Okay. Weird. I'm starting to hear a lot of latency. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Balake, good to see you, bro. Chef, good to see you, man. Hope everyone's having a good quarantine at home. I personally haven't been out of the house for like the past 4 or 5 days. You know, I'm lucky, you know, I'm quarantining with my girlfriend, you know, she's working at home, you know, like, otherwise I'd be talking to the walls right now, man. But yeah, cabin fever is real, man. I'm starting to feel it a little bit, but, what are you gonna do about it, I guess? You know, especially in New York, New York, as a lot of you may know, is going through some pretty rough times right now. I think we got like 23,000 cases right now. Anyway, yeah, you guys are all here to get away from the news, and I totally understand that. The news gives me like just anxiety these days, but yeah, so I guess what I wanted to do for today, just in terms of the Instagram Live, Azah, good to see you. Just in terms of what I want to do for today is, you know, my album is coming on, I think at midnight, so, you know, in 10 minutes and stuff, so I just wanted to talk about, you know, some of the backstories behind the making of this album, and how it might not be what you think, you know, because this album is actually 10 years in the making. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's 10 years in the making. I'll explain. I'll explain the whole, like, what is Neon City Memoirs and why is it part 1, and how is part 1 going to be different from parts 2 and 3, and yes, there are going to be 3 parts. And, you know, I wouldn't be able to answer this question without talking about my story, which is, yeah, and let's dive right in, I guess. I guess it all starts with the Neon City, and hey, Leonard, good to see you, man. I'm just talking about some of the backstories behind the making of this album. It's coming on live at midnight. So yeah, so it all begins with the Neon City, and Hong Kong, of course, I'm referring to, is where I'm born and raised. And you know, I went to the U.S. for high school and college, but then I came back. I went back to Hong Kong immediately after graduating. And that was also a critical time of my sort of musical journey, because that was a time when I started learning production and recording and all that stuff, and that was a total game changer for me, because like back in high school, like I started learning the guitar and stuff. Hang on, I'm just gonna turn down the background music. One sec. But yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to talk through some of the backstories. Yeah, so that was when I learned production, and then it was a game changer. You know, I was playing guitar for a while, but you know, production allowed me to sort of sequence all these musical ideas that I had in my head in like a coherent fashion, in a timeline, you know, and then that would later become a song. David, Cam, oh wow, I love how everyone's tuning in. I'm just talking about the background of the album, which is going on live on the platforms in a few minutes. But yeah, so that's in Hong Kong is the place where I sort of just honed my skills as a producer. Back then the de facto platform was SoundCloud. SoundCloud back in the day. I don't know if some of you remember the waveform was in blue and orange, and I totally miss those days. So back then I would just like make a song, post it on SoundCloud. There was this thing called the SoundCloud groups. Like I would submit it to like a ton of SoundCloud groups. SoundCloud groups were these places where you can like kind of interact with other people who are making similar genres as you. And yeah, old school SoundCloud. You know what I'm talking about, Chef. And I started like kind of getting my name out there a little bit. I was trying to be really active in like remix competitions. There was this one like hosted by the Glitch Mob. Some of you may know him. I think it was like back in like 2011 when Drink the Sea had just come out. They had a remix contest for Drive It Like You Stole It, and that was crazy because I was one of the finalists, and then like that was the first time where I was like actually like kind of recognized for music, and then like a couple summers later, I like did a remix of a hip hop bootleg, and then that got picked up by like a Hype Machine blog, and then shot its way up to the #1 of the remix charts. And then there were like little hints here and there telling me that there might be something for me in music. But at the same time, being where I was in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's kind of like a notorious place for DIY artists and musicians. The rents are really high. There's barely any support from the government for the arts. Like I had a lot of good friends who were super into music, but like in terms of production and the grind and all that stuff, like I kind of didn't have a lot of people to share these successes with. So that's kind of why, like, throughout, I had like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out attitude towards music approach. I guess that's why, like, back then I never took the proverbial leap into music. But there were clues here and there. There were always clues. But like like back then I didn't even have an Instagram. Like when my songs were blowing up on SoundCloud, like I couldn't even interact with the people who actually liked my music. It was kind of but you live and you learn. Like now I'm getting back on top of it and all that stuff. But like just having this hobbyist attitude. I applied to law school. Got a job at a law firm, and I became a lawyer. I know it's pretty crazy, right? I used to be a lawyer. But I went into the job thinking I could kind of juggle, my job and music, because I had a pretty good foundation in music. I kind of knew my habits. I kind of knew my workflow and my sound, kind of. Like I had a pretty good foundation. So I went into it like relatively confident that I could still produce while I was being a lawyer and stuff. But lo and behold, the job took hold, and like it was a pretty high stress job. Took up basically all of my time, and even on days where I could like get out of work relatively early at like 9, or maybe 10, stuff like that. Like I would go home, and then I would kind of like look at all the instruments hanging on my wall, and sometimes I just let out like a helpless chuckle. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like, people say make time for music, but then what I didn't have was the energy for music. I had, I'd go home and my mind would just be spent, and music is something you kind of need, like, the brain power to, like, get lost in and indulge in all that stuff. And I didn't have that. But and then I did that for, I worked as a lawyer for, like, 4 years. And, I quit around a year and a half ago. There were many, many reasons why I did it, but, like a musically relevant reason at the time was I didn't hear any melodies in my head anymore, Some of you may think like, oh, that's such a trivial reason, right? But like all my artists, musicians, and producer friends will know that that's actually pretty shitty. Like if you don't have any like loops going on in your head anymore, like that's kind of what you thrive on, you know, as a music maker and all that stuff. And then that kind of just that realization was kind of like a moment of reckoning for me, and then that kind of just like nudged me towards quitting. So I ended up I quit, and then I didn't even know if I could make music again, to be honest, at the time. But you know, I became a hippie for a few months. I took up meditation. I learned breathing exercises. I developed like a morning routine for months, and then it started coming back to me. I started listening back to like music I used to like. I went to my old iTunes library, went through all my 5-star rated songs, and I did rate every single song back then. And I kind of just got in touch with my musical roots. And then it became more and more real again, and then that's when I kind of like linked up with Lamb Chop again. He had just come out of a long hiatus from making music, and then that's when Horizon Terminal was born. And, so, and then fast forward to last July, that's when I came to New York and then starting to take this music thing a lot more seriously. I'm meeting a lot of people that are tuned in right now. A lot of my producer friends, who understand the grind and everything. And, so, it's been a journey, but to loop back to the story behind the album, I kind of missed this point where this transition period where people went from SoundCloud to Spotify. I missed I was working crazy hours at the time. I kind of missed the boat on that, but I would look at my Spotify now, and I would just kind of like sigh because like I didn't have anything that represents me from my old SoundCloud days. And this is what Neon City Memoirs really is about. Just putting out some of my really, really old material. Some of it's like not even like properly mixed and mastered and all that stuff. Like, but I figured, just sharing it with you guys is better than the paralysis of just not putting anything out. And part one is actually filled with some of my moodier and darker instrumentals, and I'm sorry. I know this is a time where we need some things to lift us up, and I promise that's coming in parts 2 and 3. So part 2 is like some of my cheesier, like lovey-dovey, like instrumentals, and I have a lot of those. And part 3 is gonna be some of my like hip hop, like summer jams and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's Neon City Memoirs, and what's the time? I think it just passed midnight. I'm just going to refresh my Spotify real quick, and then I'll just put on some of these songs, and then we'll listen to it together, and then probably take some of your questions too. Wow, it just went live. And it's not playing at the moment. I'm just going to close Spotify and open it again. Technical difficulties, guys. Another thing about being in quarantine right now, my internet is really, really slow. actually really, really slow. Hey, Ant, good to see you, man. We're just kind of just talked about the background of this album, and for those just tuning in, yeah, like the album just went live, so I think I'm just gonna like play some of the songs from it and take some of the questions and say hi to you guys. All right, you guys hear it? Hey, Lamb, good to see you. Okay, I see a couple of questions. I don't even know how to. Dude, why? Yeah. So Aaron knows all about this. I've been on a hunt for chairs because I've been sitting on an ottoman since I moved here, and I've recently started developing back pain, lower back pain, and it's not pretty. Like I feel like I'm in my 50s right now, and I really shouldn't. So I got a chair, MC Ottoman. That's right. You guys hear it okay, right? Lo-fi Lloyd. Oh, you guys are hilarious. So this song is the first song. It's called. I had to look. It's called One Beautiful April Morning, guys. So just some background of this song is this is actually named after one of Haruki Murakami's short stories. Way back then, I was back in my 20s, back in my 20s, I used to read a lot of Murakami, and I really loved how like he kind of blends the lines between like reality and fantasy. And you guys should check out this one short story. It's free. It's on Google. Just Google on meeting the 100% perfect girl on one beautiful April morning. Just Google that. And it's like a really short read. It's like a 2-3. Well, no, it's like a 20-minute read, I guess. It sounds like what? Oh, that's strangely vivid, bro. And the second one, this is the second one. It's called The Fall to Reason. I was an emo motherfucker back then, dude. Like Murakami, The Fall to, oh man. Like looking at some of these song names, sometimes I cringe, man. Murakami story for the SAT. What do you mean for the SAT? Yeah, that's another rewind back to the first song. That's another reason why I wanted to put out this album before at this time, because if I delay, like I've been delaying this album for like must have been like a year. I mean, all my producer friend knows, like, you know, we just sit on unreleased tracks and it just feels horrible. Exactly. Murakami is the OG lo-fi sad boy. That's a fact. That's a science, and I will dispute anyone who says it. But yeah, that's kind of what gave me like the time pressure to kind of push this out at this time, because if I don't do it now, man, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna be 50, and I'll have nothing to show for it on Spotify. Gave you a Murakami passage in the... Whoa, that's nuts. I never, so, that's weird. So, do you start enjoying the SATs? Only if you like Murakami, I guess. It is my favorite short story. Lamb Chop knows that. And it's super fucking cheesy and sappy. You know, sometimes you just gotta embrace it. You know, I tried to fight it when I was younger, but you know what? I'm just a cheesy guy, man. Okay, I see there's a couple. I don't even know how to deal with these question stickers. question mark thing? Oh, okay. Now it just came out. My college roommate Nick. You're so brave. Who hurt you? Dude, so many people. Actually, Nick was around when I would we would trade a lot of like songs on iTunes and stuff. That was when like if you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network in college, and you could just like share your songs and download songs from each other. Got a lot of music from Nick, and you know what? I guess you probably had the biggest hand in making me so emo. June asked, you ever gonna revive the Horizon Terminal Discord thingy? Dude, I really loved what we had, man. Like, it's just like with Discord, I'm just not used to opening a separate app. You know, if anything, I've been trying to kind of decrease all the notifications on my phones. I kind of just went through all my apps and turned off all their like badges and all that stuff, like, cause it just fucking like, it's just too much sometimes. So like Discord was, but you know what? I'm getting a hang of it. I just got on Twitter. Same Medic Music. I just got on Twitter. I'm starting to get used to it. I'm on TikTok, but I suck at TikTok. I'm on this app called Byte, and I suck at Byte. Yeah, Twitter, like, I'm already having a tough enough time wrapping my head around Twitter, but, you know, I'm starting to get a hang of it. And Discord, I will get a hang of it. I just limited capacity here, you know, like, I'm so ADD. This one's called Night Frost, and I had to look again, because I don't know my album well enough. This actually, Night Frost, this started off as an IG video. And so yeah, Neon City Memoirs isn't really like just all old stuff. I thought I would like sneak some new stuff in, just to kind of, I don't know, you know what, like, it's just older than new, like. Chef Dog does, yo, shit, you kill Twitter, man. I don't know how you do it. Like, I think too much. Like, sometimes, I'm not saying you don't think, like, but like, sometimes I'm not a person that really like thinks aloud. My thoughts, it takes a while for me to like piece them together, and I feel like Twitter really works for some. Like, I have a friend, high school friend, who's an author. Like, he just published his first novel, New Waves. His name's Kevin Nguyen. And he's killing it on Twitter, like, and it's just, you know, he's just so, like, you know, it's for people who like have really quick-witted like one-liners and stuff. I feel like Twitter has been the, hey, you know what? Whatever works, bro. Whatever works. Yeah, this one's called Behind Time. It actually wasn't called Behind. So basically, all these songs are on my SoundCloud. But on SoundCloud, it's not called Behind Time. It's called like Greenwich Mean Time, and it's just about. And it's just another sappy love song. Yeah, it's pretty stupid. But I kind of gave it a more like harder to read title for Spotify purposes. What about OnlyFans? What do you? Oh, you mean for the Discord group, right? I mean, yeah, I really, because I'm getting more and more in tune, like, because I don't think I ever wrapped my head around Discord too well. I'm starting to get more and more active, and I think it's something that you know, me and Lamprop will definitely want to, because you know, we have a really solid group of people there. But you know, it's all about consistency and you know, community building, and you know, we'll put more effort into that for sure. Hey Frank, good to see you, bro. Hi, Nick Quo. Hey Majesty, good to see you. Hey, congrats on your release too. So this one, yeah, that was from a time when I would, I think there was a there was a quote from a Good Will Hunting, the movie. It's my favorite movie of all time, by the way. Yeah, movie quotes, I'm not above it. I love having movie quotes in songs. I just need to make sure I don't abuse it. But I feel like it really informs. Like for instrumental music, you really need something that informs the mood. I guess the beauty of instrumental music, it's so open in interpretation. But sometimes, as the creator, you also want to kind of steer the vibe as well. Oh, June, sorry, I didn't get your joke. How do you get that emotional tone and depth in the preamp? Dude, you just gotta, it's all from here, man. The preamp is within. Preamp is within. Wait, what's a cam girl thing? Oh god. Am I a cam girl? What's a cam girl thing? Shit. I am a cam girl, confirmed. Guitar inspirations, bro. Thanks for asking. Guitar inspirations, I started learning acoustic guitar back in high school. I played a lot of Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson's actually deceptively good as a beginner's guitar person to learn from, because he actually has really good right hand rhythm strumming techniques. Along with his jazzy chords, he also has a lot of these really cool entry level major sevens, minor sevens. If you want to just venture beyond your average major minor chords, Jack Johnson's a good person to learn from. It's basically all 7 chords. After Jack Johnson, I started listening to this guy Tommy Guerrero a lot. He's a skateboarder turned beat maker, and he kind of showed me that it was possible to be a guitarist, but also make it as a producer, make beats, because a lot of guitarists before Tommy that I look up to, their shtick was being really good at guitar, but I was never that great. I never went to I knew that route really wasn't for me because I just don't have the gift, I feel like. But as a guitarist producer, I feel like Tommy Guerrero showed me that it was possible. Oh, the one just now was Moontrail. I forgot the name again. Yeah, Moontrail. Just an ambient piece. So yeah, this album, I kind of structured it so that it would start out with some beats, and then it would go kind of slow down with some ambient pieces. So this one you're hearing right now is another one from IG, actually, a pure instrumental acoustic guitar piece called Neon Once More. I remember that one. Timmy Guerrero, is that a new guitarist beat maker? No, I'm just kidding, bro. Yeah, Tommy Guerrero is awesome, bro. Yeah, I think I guess by putting these kind of ups and downs in the album, I guess you can't really just put this album on at a party or whatever. Not that you would ever listen to these dark beats at a party or whatever, but it's not meant for one occasion, so it's meant to just be a fucking roller coaster, like my mind, pretty much. Yeah, it was many make-out sessions to that song, and many more to come. Oh, this one. Oh, sorry. This one's another one from IG, actually. Covered. I'm not gonna look. Stay Together for the Kids from Blink 182. Yeah, I had a really big phase to that album. What is it? Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Because I feel like that album was like the first one where Blink really grew up and matured, and this was one of the songs that really convinced me that they did, and it really had an impact on me. Hey, that's awesome, Chef Brown. I really appreciate that. Yeah, make sure you're 6 feet away from the next person, bro, when you stroll through the park. Yeah, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Dude, it took me such a long time to get that pun, man. Like an embarrassingly long time, but hey, I get it now. Oh god, what's this one? So we're on track 8 out of 10. This one's called The Voice Within, and it's a really like one of those dark, like introspective beats. Yeah, I don't know, one of those. Hey, good to see you, Deke. We're just my album just went live, and we're just listening to it right now, and I'm just like talking to everyone. It's so awesome you guys are here. I mean, it's like past midnight over here in New York. Yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you, man. Great pace. I mean, if by pace you mean just like beat, no beat, and then beat again. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yo, appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's trying to stay safe. Like I said earlier, man, like it's my 4th, 5th day in this apartment. I haven't even left the door, and just going through our supplies, making a grocery list, and we're trying to make a grocery run maybe sometime next week, and then just try to limit our exposure, man. It's getting real out here. Really appreciate it, Frank. Good to see you staying active, man. Frank's another New York producer. Yeah, it's getting real out here. Oh, so this one, I just made out with my mic. So this one's called The Voice Within, Postscript. So this is just like a kind of like a continuation of the last song. In my head, it's kind of like, the first one was like really dark, but then the postscript is kind of like, there's light at the end of the tunnel, like at least for me personally, and yeah, I mean, I tried to keep some of the same elements between these two songs, like it uses the same drums, uses the same, so the kick and the snare and all that, just to kind of connect them. Because thematically they are one piece to me, but I just split it into 2 songs in Spotify. Yeah. Oh, and more questions. What's my favorite song on the EP? I don't know, man. That's a tough question. gonna say the One Beautiful April Morning, just because it's the least dark one in the whole album, and it's the first song where I really kind of experimented with this with guitar effects. Like I experimented with a lot of stutters and delays. And you can hear it in the beautiful April morning song. And now I use it a lot. Like I love using stutters and delays on my guitar. It just kind of adds a little more like texture, you know, because guitar, like, yeah, you can just hold a note, you know, the sustain could be really long, but it doesn't beat the texture of, like, you know, compounding stutters with delays, which I love. Oh, actually, incidentally, you'll hear the stutter delay combo that I do coming up, actually. This is what I mean. Filters slowly opening up. That's just me playing like 3 notes on the guitar, like but then like I stacked like stutter and delay. Yeah. So it's like you can tell like the texture is different. You know, it's different from just you playing single notes and like trying to hold it. And I really love it. You know, and it all started from One Beautiful April Morning, and then yeah, I love that. And then we're getting to the last song, which is called Letting Go, and it's easily the most emo one. You can just tell from the title, man. Yeah, it's actually not called Letting Go on SoundCloud, but it's actually called Breaking Off is Hard to Do. Lamb Chop asks, who hurt you? Too many to name, man. Too many. Thanks, June. There's, like, all my producer friends will know this. Sometimes when you listen back to your old songs, especially like talking about an album like this where I have songs from like 10 years ago, there's a magical power behind songs that really, like, is just able to, like, it's kind of like a smell, you know? Like, sometimes a smell just takes you back to, you know, like, years ago, and then just, like, the exact moment of day, you know, like, that. So, like, this song kind of just takes me back to, you know, like, 7, 8 years ago, you know, when I was hurt. But which is why I love making songs, man. Gaki, good to see you, bro. Yeah, which is why I love making songs, man. They're just little time capsules of... It's kind of like a Dear Diary. Each song is like a Dear Diary when you're making songs for yourself, you know? Yo, Chef, that's mad interesting, bro. I appreciate that, though. You know, it's so subjective. It's so subjective. But I think the key is why I think it's darker is, you know, I'm totally biased because it takes me back to more emo times, pretty much. You know, I hate to say it, but like, so I think Yes, thank you for an objective, your objective like feedback, because that's sometimes it's really hard for me to detach myself from that, you know. I like it. Oh man, yo, Balake, that's the compliment, and I love you for that. Hey, thank you, Gaki, man. Really appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're just talking about just vibing, man. Just talking about the backstory of this album and listening and Emo City Memoirs. Yo, that's it. That's it. I think it's time to pull the album and rename it and re-upload it. Nah, I get you, Bill. Okay, I get you. This lead tone I've never used on any other song, actually. There's a really interesting snippet from this. This lead tone is actually from a preset in Amplitude. Everyone who has Amplitude, the guitar plugin, you should go search for a preset called Crush of Love. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It's called Crush of Love, and it had a big role into why I picked this preset for this song. Crush of Love, Amplitude. Check it out. It's fucking gnarly. I mean, you know, if I'm not physically tearing up, I'm crying on the inside, because that's what I do. Oh, that was it, man. Thank you guys so much. Sax guitar bus session. Yo, in the city. Yo, let's do it. When all is said and done, we gotta do it. Gaki, make it out. We'll make it happen, man. Seriously, like, it will do it. One thing I love about New York is there's so many parks, and we just gotta, yeah. Shutter, that's dope, bro. But yeah, that's you know, I don't have anything else to play at the moment, but that was it. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap up, and really appreciate you guys for staying. Seriously, like, this is you know, I didn't even decide I was gonna do like a live stream and stuff until today. I figured I got this new kind of rig set up. Hey, Stevie. I figured I got this set up going on, and I figured I'd just give it a shot. And yeah, just really I'm glad the audio was largely okay. And yeah, really thank you. Yeah, really appreciate it, guys. Seriously, you guys stuck around, and Azza, Lamb Chop, Chef, everyone. Yeah, really appreciate all you guys. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up now. Make a new album. All right, that's a tall order, man. I got nothing, bro. I'm running on empty right now. I'm sorry, man. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna tune out now. Seriously, thank you guys. Really appreciate all of you. Sorry.